Hola, hola, muy buenos dias. My name is Megan, and sometimes I say it so people can remember. I say it's me again. Oh, it's you again. Who's you again? No, it's me again. Megan, me again. So, what does that mean? Well, I've often thought about my name and like, what does it mean? I have a point here, I promise. So, what in doing this continuous line selfie challenge daily drawing, which I just want to applaud everyone who's doing the daily drawing, because it's hard. I mean, it's not like hard like you're breaking rocks in prison, cracking rocks and then making license plates in the El Salvadorian prison. It's more like it's just first of all you have to have the drive to show up to the page, and that sometimes because we can have all these things in our head. Well, do you see what's happening in the world today? I can't have the luxurious space to go draw myself. Of all things, draw myself. Is there anything more conceited than drawing oneself? Right? So, or, I've got things to do, I've got places to go, I've got people to take care of. So, and I'm not even just talking about selfies, I'm talking about just showing up to making your art in general. Sometimes there can be all kinds of roadblocks, right? So, first and foremost, you have to like push through all those, and the only way you're going to push through those kinds of blocks is if you feel good about where you're going, right? If you go to make your art, to do your stuff, whatever it is, whatever capacity you're making art, right? If you don't feel good, it's hard to feel motivated to go back there, right? It's hard to be like, well, I didn't really like the results, but, and it kind of made me feel bad. It made me feel silly. It made me feel like I don't know what I'm doing. It made me feel like a fraud, especially if I've told anyone, if I've ever uttered the fact that I might be an artist, right? And so if you don't feel good, it's hard to keep going back. However, the thing in this continuous line storytelling, I remind people that we're not a finished drawing group, right? I mean, you can finish your drawings and finish your paintings and share them, but we are a practice drawing group, which means it's practice. And I feel like every sketch I do is just practice for the next one, right? Practice for the next one. So, and then, oh my goodness, like I said, we're doing this selfie challenge this month, the month of May. And so, 31 days of drawing oneself, and we are on day 10. Happy Mother's Day for those of you who are celebrating. Big ordeal here in Mexico, always on the 10th, which happens to fall on a Saturday this year, so every restaurant will be jammed and so on and so forth. I always think of it as the chicken places, the roasted chicken places. It used to be 2 for 1, but now you get 1.5 for the price of one. And there's like lines out the door of kids buying chickens for their mother. I love that. I think that's so sweet. Anyways, me again. I'm drawing me again, right? So here we are. It's 2025. If you look out into the world and see what's happening in the news, it very much looks like things are going sideways. It very much looks like things are not going in a good direction. It very much looks like my country of origin is being held hostage by a madman and his minions, right? So it does not look good. It does not look good in any way, shape, form. And nobody's putting any brakes on, right? So as we're sort of like veering into this whole new era, which, could mean recession, that's what it's kind of looking like, or worse, right? Or better, right? I don't want to be all doom and gloom. I don't even want to talk about him. It's not even about him, but it is about the climate that he is producing. It's not good. I mean, even his people, well, they're never happy, right? So there's the stress and the nervousness of that, right? And then you got to look at things like, oh, God, do I need to buy this now because in a year it won't be available? What about coffee? Do I need to have a whole pantry full of coffee? You got to look at things differently now, right? So there's that thing of like sliding into a whole sort of an economic era. But then there's the whole technology thing too, which is, I research a lot of what's happening in the world of AI, artificial intelligence, as it's careening into worldwide domination, including the introduction of AGI, which is artificial general intelligence, which sounds so innocent, but really it's robots with feelings and opinions, and that is what they are saying is going to be the deal breaker, because these highly sophisticated robots and computers, brains, are programmed in such a way that once they get going, they really can't be stopped, right? So I'm not even like going off into this whole sci-fi, the end of the world in the sci-fi. There's the fascist takeover, and then there's the sci-fi takeover, right? Who's gonna gobble us up first? And then there's the environmental thing, like is there going to be an earthquake or floods or tornadoes or whatever, right? So we've got sort of these pressure points in our world today that, I'm almost 60, and there certainly have been pressure points. I haven't lived through a war, right? That's a huge, think about all the people living through a war, right? And all the people who have lived through wars and, famines. Generally speaking, I'll talk about the Americans in this genre, this generation, a little bit older, a little bit younger. Yeah, there's been problems, but generally speaking, we've had it pretty darn easy. And not that we should suffer now, but it's kind of like suffering the consequences of our actions, like giving the keys to this madman, right? That's some pretty serious consequences right there. How about those price of eggs, everyone that voted for him? Yikes. So we're careening into this whole new era, and where the AI could take over a lot of jobs, and then with the economy could just change things economically, right? So there's a lot to ponder. I wake up in the morning, I look at the ceiling, I'm like, oh my God, what is going to happen today? It's not that doomy and gloomy, because when I wake up, I talk to my dog, and it's good to have conversations with the dog first thing in the morning. And so the idea of doing a selfie challenge, it's me again, right? The selfie challenges that I have done in the years past, they may be painful in the moment, but when I look at them a year later, I can flash back to who I was that day. And sometimes it's good and sometimes it's painful, right? Sometimes I'm like, ooh, I remember that day. I was stressed out because something happened, or I was worried about, I thought I didn't feel good, or look how fat I am. I can flash back to who I was on that particular day, and I can identify with it. And oftentimes I just kind of my heart goes out to my the Megan of a year ago, the Megan of 2 years ago. But I also, there's a whole thing of well, look how cute I am. Look how cute I am. I'm getting older every day like everyone else, right? I'm getting older. Things are progressing, right? Things are drooping. Things are widening. Things are slowing down. It's still pretty good. But the beauty of, once I get the noise out of my head of it's so selfish to draw yourself, and who do you think you are? I have all those mother voices back there that sort of criticize whatever it is I'm doing, right? Whatever it is I'm doing. Oh, boy, look at you drinking fancy coffee. And not Folgers. Okay, that's my mother's voice. She wasn't that critical, but she was kind of, she's Irish Catholic, kind of like, oh, look at you. How nice that you have the time to do whatever it is you're doing, right? There was always that sense of well, look at you living the life of Riley. How nice that you have all the time in the world to do the things you love. Because if you're not suffering, who are you? Like in my tribe, right? We all come from tribes, right? In my tribe, if you didn't suffer, if you didn't bleed from the knuckles, if you didn't go without, if you didn't drink a lot of beer, right? You're kind of like, who are you? Who are you to not suffer I'm talking with my hands. Well, I am, but I don't want AI to help me with that. See, AI takes over in everything we do, right? So for me to do my selfie drawing challenge, it's a personal thing of like I get to look back at myself a year later. Now this is the third year, and I look back. Although I've been drawing selfies pretty much since I started drawing, and I look back at those and go, "Oh my God, look how young and thin and completely fraught with anxiety I was." Because when I started drawing, I was still married, and I was just a basket case. I looked good, but I was a total basket case, right? And so for me, it's a map. It's a map of my memories, a map of me again, right? Because even in every drawing that I do, I'm different. I'm different. You know, sometimes I get oh, here, I have this. When I was drawing this, the thing I noticed is I have a really big forehead, and sometimes I don't capture that. So when I was drawing this, I was like, don't forget how big your forehead is. Well, look at that. I went a little too extreme, and I have quite the cone head forehead, right? So, don't kid yourself. To draw yourself in a continuous line is hard. It's hard. It's not easy. And so I do it every day. And, you know, sometimes I do it a few times, right? Because I've got some new art supplies and I want to try out pens. In fact, today I'm going to do my selfie with my Pilot Parallel, right? Which is a calligraphy pen, but it makes beautiful marks, right? So, you know, every day I'm someone different. This was when I was taking in the news of Pope Leo from Chicago. Woohoo! Chicago, man. I mean, honestly, it's amazing. The more I think about it, that his name is Robert Francis, which is the name of my uncle, Uncle Buzz. He was Robert Francis. Everyone in my mom's family had all her siblings, they all had Francis was their middle name. Very Irish thing. So Robert Francis, Juliet Francis, Michael Francis, Timothy Francis, Tom Francis. And so my uncle, Buzz, he was Robert Francis. And he was a White Sox fan. Huge. And then I see the Pope Leo, he was at the Chicago White Sox I mean, it's just crazy. So anyways, hometown pride, right? So this is me taking in the news of Pope Leo from Chicago. And there's not a lot to feel like excited about these days. But that was a moment of like, oh, how lovely, right? Look at how quickly. And then the world just started celebrating, right? For a number of reasons. But, yeah, so let's see. Do I have other ones in here? I'm doing digital drawings too, right? So this is my hand drawings. And, you know, this is waking up and looking at the news of the day like, oh, my God, are you serious? Is this what's happening? I think I did this with my Pilot Parallel. And, you know, here I look well rested. I look about 20 years younger. My hair looks perky and clean. Looks like I just got a nice cut. And so at the end of this month, here's another one being horrified by whatever is going on. Just waking up. I got my seeing glasses and looking out into the world. So at the end of this continuous line selfie challenge, I have a book of memories of me again. Cheers, everyone. Salud. Muy buenos dias. Have a great Saturday. Keep on drawing yourself. Keep on telling your stories. Keep on practicing. I'm loving seeing what everyone's doing. I'm there. I'm rooting you on. I'm rooting on the world that we get through this. Stay human. Lean into your humanness. Be human. Draw yourself. Who cares if like someone says, oh, look at you drawing yourself, blah, 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 blah. Oh, you made yourself thinner. Oh, you made yourself prettier. Oh, you made yourself blah, 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 blah. Even if someone is not telling you that, but you're telling you that, push that aside and just draw yourself. Honor the practice. Honor the practice. Honor yourself as an artist. Honor the work that you do. The time, the dedication you put into being an artist is one of the most self-satisfying things we can do, right? Like there's traveling and there's buying yourself things and there's doing this and doing that. But when you draw, when you put time into developing yourself as an artist. I honestly, just from my own experience, there's nothing like it in the world, right? So bravo, everyone. Happy Mother's Day to all of you who are celebrating, or have mothers, or are mothers, or celebrating your fellow mothers, right? Enjoy the day. Enjoy the weekend. I'll see you next time, and keep on drawing yourself. Bye! Finish big with a heart.